Do you want to grow food with almost zero effort? Doing away with manual watering and installing a soaker hose in your garden beds is probably the biggest step you could take towards achieving that goal. In this video, I'll show you how to install the soaker hose across multiple garden beds, why using a soaker hose produces healthier plants and higher yields than watering manually or using a sprinkler, and why I prefer using a soaker hose to drip hoses. Soaker hoses are just like regular hoses, except they're made of a porous material. Light water pressure is enough to encourage droplets to form and to trickle down the outside of the hose or onto anything they come into contact with. Now, if I bury the hose underground, then there is a contact point with the soil along the length of the entire hose, exactly where I want water delivered, next to the roots. So a soaker hose can not only directly water the plant roots, but it requires less water to do so, as surface evaporation losses are much lower than with a sprinkler or any surface watering. However, it also means that the area watered is much smaller than with a regular sprinkler. The water needs to permeate through the soil rather than getting sprayed everywhere. So to get adequate water to your plants, the manufacturer recommends leaving a separation of only a couple of feet between the plants and the soaker hose. To achieve this, you could plan out your planting layout and try and keep the distance between your plants and your hose as small as possible. Or you could wind the hose around some already established plants, like this garlic here. But if you're just planning on watering a row of tomatoes, then you can place that hose in a straight line next to the plant stems. But if you're growing as much as possible and very tightly packing in your plants, then you might want to consider more wavy patterns to get good, even coverage of the entire bed. And once you've laid out your hose, you can peg it in place and cover it with a couple of inches of compost. So these hoses are really easy to install in a no-dig bed where you've already got a couple of inches of loose soil to play with. Alternatively, you can bury the hose in the ground or peg it to the soil surface. These soaker hoses come in set lengths, so once you've laid down your hose and fixed it in place, you might find you need to trim away the excess. They are really easy to cut using a pair of scissors or wire cutters, and then you can connect an adapter to the end of the hose. If you want this to be the end of the line, then you're going to need an adapter to stop the flow of water and to maintain water pressure. For instance, you could use one of these Hozelock aquastop connectors, which only allows water to flow when you've got something connected. If you have multiple beds, you can use a female-female adapter to connect a regular non-porous hose and carry the water over to the next bed without wasting any water. Now, there is a limit to how long a soaker hose can be before it starts to lose effectiveness. However, that depends on water pressure, so I can't give you exact numbers for your garden. However, last year I used a 25-metre length across 2 beds, as well as 2 sprinklers, all running off this 4-in-1 adapter. And my plan this year is to upgrade to 75 metres of soaker hose to water both halves of my garden without using any sprinklers. But if you find you start having problems with uneven irrigation, then a solution could be to lower the water pressure at the tap, or to use the flow control adapter provided with the hose, or to connect both ends of the soaker hose to your water supply, which should even out the water pressure throughout the hose. And before we move on, I'd like to ask you to press the like button if this video is helping you decide if a soaker hose is right for you. And I'd love to know how you're watering your garden already and how that's working for you. Are you using drip hoses? Are you using an automatic timer? Are you watering by hand? Let me know in the comments below. But Alex, I hear you say, why not just use a sprinkler or a drip irrigation system? While drip hoses are great for delivering water to specific locations, they require lots of custom attachments and a lot of setup time to build your system. This might be fine for sparse planting with ornamental plants and perennials where you need to deliver water to specific locations, but for a vegetable garden or an allotment bed where you're growing as much food as you fit in, possibly with interplanting and with the layout changing throughout the season, you don't want to water specific places. The entire volume under this bed is going to be filled with roots, so what you really want is a good even coverage of the entire bed. So one of the supposed drawbacks of a soaker hose is actually a positive in the vegetable garden. And the problem with sprinklers or spray hoses is that you cover all of the foliage in water and throw water onto the ground with enough force to create splashback and cover the plants in muck. And these are all great things to do if you want to promote fungal disease in your plants. Blight on tomatoes, powdery mildew on squashes, rusting on alliums. These infections are all made worse by leaf wetness, and you see them a lot during wet summers. So why make the problem worse and use a sprinkler every other day? And why do this and still have to waste water? Because of the high surface evaporation. And the drawbacks of soaker hoses, like uneven watering or apparently even pipes exploding, can be entirely avoided by creating a closed loop to ensure that there's an even pressure throughout the pipe, and by avoiding excess pressure in the first place by turning off the tap a little bit or using the flow control adapter that comes with the hose. That's why this year I'm going all in, converting the second half of my garden to using soaker hoses too. Now, this video wasn't sponsored, no one asked me to make it, I'm just someone who loves growing food and I'm trying to help you guys to do the same. So if you're interested in trying out a soaker hose, check out the links in the description to products that I've been using over the last couple of years. And for other tools, which makes growing food so much easier, check out this video here, which is my list of essential garden tools. Otherwise, as always, happy gardening.